Alright, we're standing here inside the Bellator Boxing Club with legendary cutman, boxing and MMA, Stitch Duran. Stitch, I want to talk to you a minute about the big news. Last week it was announced. You got a new gig, man. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, actually it was announced, about 3 weeks ago. I did my first show with Bellator last week in Mohegan Sun. And the reception from the fighters and the trainers and the staff and the fans was tremendous, you know. But I met with Scott Coker the week that I worked with Andre Ward. I flew into Oakland the day before and drove to San Jose. And, you know, people don't realize that Scott and I have been together for over 30 years. When I had my school of kickboxing, we used to fight under his promotion. So we sat down and we made a nice agreement, a 3-year deal. And, you know, it's been good, and the reception from Spike TV, Viacom, Bellator, the fans, like I say, everybody has been tremendous. I got my next big show next weekend in San Jose, which is like going back home for me. You know, the Spike guys want to follow me around and get some insight on what I am doing and what my relationship is with Bellator and the fighters and all that. So I'm real excited about being on board. So good things looking up, man.
So they're doing special segments on you. Did you ever think when you first got started in the business that anyone would even care about you outside of your friends and family, that average sports fans would want to know about you?
Yeah, you know, it's been crazy. You know, I was just talking to Mickey Bay's father, and I said, you know, hey, wherever I go in the airports, restaurants, wherever I'm at the fights, people come and they want to take a picture, but then they also say, you know what, man, what you did regarding the UFC, you went out in style. I got a lot of respect for you for speaking the truth and supporting everybody. And yeah, to get that kind of attention is quite mind-blowing. You know, I'm a cut man, right? And but I guess, you know, for what I've done for the sport and keeping the fighters safe and educating them and really just kind of being, you know, there with the fans and giving them all my support, I think it's all come back on a positive note.
Any regrets for the way you went out? It seems like actually thinks it might have been a blessing for the way you went out.
No, you know, I have no regrets. You know, outside of the friends that I got in the UFC, I mean, we're all friends. The family, the members, the workers of the UFC, the fighters, trainers, we were all friends. And, you know, that I miss, but I see them at the other shows. So I'm blessed.
When you left, did you see yourself coming to agreement with one organization, or did you think you were going to just freelancing from there on out?
Well, you know, freelancing is always best for me, and I know I've gotten some offers to go exclusive with other companies, but for me to go and spread what I do, which is, you know, safety of the fighters and, you know, just doing the right thing, I want to go ahead and spread it out. But the deal that I got with Bellator is Scott Coker says, you know, I understand you make a lot of money in boxing. So if you have a boxing show the same day as a Bellator show, I could understand you taking it. But if we have a show and there's another company, please give us the first show. And I said, absolutely. You know, so Bellator has first choice with me. But, you know, I've worked the World Series of Fighting. I've worked the Invicta fights. And those are still open if there's not a Bellator date. So, you know, everything that I've always wanted to do when I was with the UFC, and that's opened up my doors of working other organizations, I'm doing it with Bellator.
Was that important for you to be able to branch out and do other things and market yourself the way you feel fit? Because, you know, your last place, they kind of put the kibosh on all that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That, you know, that's important for me, is to go out there and, you know, keep my face out, but work with as many fighters as possible, no doubt about it. You know, and you know, to like I say, when I did the first World Series of Fighting, I brought in some cutmen, and the next thing I know, Don House and myself get suspended for 5 fights. You know, so that's not going to happen anymore. You know, I was there, like I said, for the safety of the fighters. I even had one of the guys that said I gave the World Series of Fighting credibility, and then he tells me, he says, look, man, let me put it to you in legal terms. You're an independent contractor, and we hire you on a fight-by-fight basis. So that kind of put the writing on the wall, off the record, as he put it, but I never forgot.
You've been seeing a lot. I mean, you've been doing boxing, of course, for longer than MMA, but you've been a little busy lately running the Andre train here.
Yeah.
I guess in your good luck, huh? I guess they're pretty happy with having you in their corner, considering all three came out victorious in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and there's a nice storyline with Andre Ward, but I started off with Andre Ward, and Friday I worked with Andre Duran in Atlantic City, and then I took a quick flight to Los Angeles to work with Andre Berto. But we're in the dressing room, and Andre Ward is there, and in front of everybody, he's saying, you know, whenever Stitch, when I got cut, I told myself, don't worry, because I got Stitch in my corner. And when you came to my corner, you're just so relaxed. You know, I said, I could have the biggest gash in the world, but I know that you won't let me know that, you know. He says, I love you, Stitch. You know, so that's what I do it for. I do it for that.
Are you happy for working Victor Ortiz in the corner?
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I do those on a regular basis. But the thing that was very disappointing was, you know, walking out, all the fans were there and cheering on Victor Ortiz, and when they announced him, they cheered on Victor Ortiz, and when they announced Andre Berto, they booed him. But after that knockout, they started booing Carlos Ortiz, Victor Ortiz. So that was real disappointing. And then walking back into the dressing room, they're throwing all kinds of shit at him, you know. And then there's a fight in the audience, and but that was very disrespectful.
What do you like? What's the easier sport? Is there a difference between MMA and boxing? I know a cut's a cut, but is there one that's a little more challenging on a regular basis?
Oh yeah, MMA. You know, because there's multiple cuts all the time, and
but you have less time to worry. Like whereas a boxing match can take longer.
Well, yeah, that's true. You know, but once you work the proper techniques and all that, then you know if you can control a cut and stop it from bleeding, like Victor Ortiz, if you can control that cut, because that's a bad cut, that's going to bleed. But if you can control it and you stop bleeding for half the round and it bleeds later on, you've done your job, you know. And so, you know, but you're right. And the long 12-round fights, then you have to maintain it. But, you know, I mean, as soon as Andre Berto took that headbutt with Victor Ortiz, I iced him down, you know. So preventive maintenance is a big thing that I do also.
We're happy to see you. You got yourself, I mean, you're always busy, but you got yourself an official home.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you next week in San Jose, right?
Yeah, San Jose, and like I say, I'm doing their Fan Fest, so Scott Coker invited me to do their Fan Fest, I think the day before, at Dave & Buster's, and then we'll have a Spike crew follow me around, man, so I've been blessed. And thank you all the fans, really, for being with me and supporting me throughout this whole ordeal that I went through, and it makes me feel good, and it gives me the energy knowing that I got a whole crew behind me covering my back.
Where can they keep up with you?
At StitchDuran.com. No.
It's on Twitter, right?
Yeah, it's on Stitch Duran. Yeah, on Twitter, Stitch Duran, and then at Stitch Duran, and then on Instagram. I just started. In fact, Vitor Belfort got me on Instagram, and now I'm starting to. So I got like almost 10,000 guys, and so I'm starting to pick that up. But Stitch Duran.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Best luck to you.
Oh, anytime. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.